Okay, all right. This meeting will now commence at 6:04 p.m. The first order of business is roll call. May we please commence roll call?
Absolutely. To begin, we have a student trustee Bravo. A student trustee Bravo absent. President Kumar.
Here.
Kumar present. Vice President Ahmed.
Here.
Ahmed present. Treasurer Nia Manuri.
Here.
Nia Manuri present. Chief of Staff Almendras.
Present.
Almendras present. Chairwoman Hamad. Chairwoman Hamad. Hamad absent. Chairwoman El Adawi.
Present.
El Adawi present. Chairwoman Nadala.
Present.
Nadala present. Chairwoman Obide. Chairwoman Obide. Obide absent. Chairwoman Show.
Present.
Show present. Speaker of the House Stancheva.
Present.
Stancheva present. Representative Petineo.
Here.
Petineo present. Representative Kasowski.
Here.
Kasowski present. Representative Denebad.
Present.
Denebad present. Representative Nehi. Representative Nehi. Nehi absent. Representative Aranda Ortiz.
Present.
Aranda Ortiz present. Representative Taylor.
Present.
Taylor present. Representative Abdel Salam.
Present.
Abdel Salam present. Representative Selvaraj.
He has an excused absence.
Thank you so much. Representative B.
Present.
B present. Representative Fernandez.
Present.
Fernandez present. Representative Villagomez.
Present.
Villagomez present. Representative Hack.
Present.
Hack present. Representative Nguyen.
Present.
Nguyen present. Representative Alzadi.
Excused absence.
Thank you so much. Representative Khan.
Present.
Khan present. Representative Malik.
Present.
Malik present. Representative Henry.
Present.
Henry present. Representative Chris Mann.
Present.
Chris Mann present. And Representative Bora. Representative Bora. Bora absent. And that concludes roll call for the last time this academic year or semester.
And just for the record, I would like to mention that I noticed that student trustee Bravo and Chairperson Hamad have arrived. So I will change that on the agenda, or sorry, on the on roll call. All right, thank you. All right, the next order of business is reading and approval of the minutes. So please take this time to read over the minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Okay, if there are no corrections to the minutes, then the minutes will stand as approved. The next order of business is reading and approval of the agenda. Please take this time to read over the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Yeah.
Kayla?
Oh, sorry.
I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda and add an item in new business.
Okay, what is it called?
Resolution 2021 S12602.
Okay, there has been a motion to add Resolution 2021-S12-602 to new business. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All
Aye.
that opposed, please say nay. Does anybody abstain? Okay, the ayes have it, and this resolution has been added to new business. Are there any other changes to the agenda?
Yeah, I would like to make two motions. The first motion would be to add Dean Ballard Thrower and University Librarian Linda Nari to guest speakers.
Quick question, is that all, are they all together?
Yeah, they're both from the library.
Okay, can you repeat their name, please?
Yeah, would you like me to put in the chat?
Yes, please.
And the second motion is to add food funding time to items for discussion.
Okay, food funding time. Okay, all right, so there has been a motion to add Dean Ballard Thrower to our guest speakers, as well as to add item for discussion, food funding time. So all those in favor of these changes, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All that oppose, please say nay. Does anybody abstain? Okay, the ayes have it, and this has changed. Okay, let's see. Hannah?
Yeah, can I motion to add Mr. Worcester to the guest speakers, please?
Okay, can you please put their name in the chat? And then after Hannah, Aitana will be next. For just 1 second. Okay. All right. So there has been a motion to add David Worcester to our guest speakers for today. All those in favor of this change, please say aye.
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 All that oppose, please say nay. Does anybody abstain? Okay, the ayes have it. Next, can we hear from Aitana?
I'd like to motion to add a resolution to new business, please.
Okay, what is it called?
Resolution 2021 S12-406.
Okay, so there has been a motion to add resolution 2021-S12-406 to new business. All those in favor of adding this resolution, please say aye.
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 All that oppose, please say nay. Does anybody abstain? Okay, the ayes have it. Are there any other changes to the agenda?
Yes, one more. Motion to add resolution 2021 S12-802 under new business as well.
Okay, resolution. Can you repeat the name, please?
Yeah, 2021 S12-802.
That would be resolution 2021-S12-1002. I changed the name because the 800 is for the treasurer. It's the same resolution. It's just a different name. Okay, I think Hannah cut out. Okay. Did you hear what I said, Hannah?
You asked for the number again, right?
So I added the resolution. It's just under a different number. It's the
Oh,
very first one in new business.
okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Are there any other changes to the agenda? Okay. All right. Well, if there are no other changes to the agenda, then the agenda will stand as approved. The next order of business is public comment. Do we have any public comment? Okay, just very quickly, to all of the people who proposed a new resolution, please send the resolution in Word format to myself and Wasan. Okay. And then the next order of business is guest speakers. Before we give the floor to the guest speakers, I would just like to remind everybody that each guest speaker would get 5 minutes to present whatever it is that they have to present. And then there will be a few minutes for questions. Please try to stick to that time limit in order to be respectful of USG's time. And I will be keeping track of the time and messaging you privately while you were talking to make sure that we're sticking to the time limit. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So in that case, Anshu, please introduce our first guest speaker.
Yeah, so Dean Ballard Thrower is the Dean of the UIC Libraries on campus, and Linda Naru is an Associate University Librarian for Administrative Services, and they're here to kind of just introduce themselves for all the members that will be here for next year, and so I'll let them take it away.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak with you today. Linda is like riding shotgun. So if you have any questions for me, because I am so new, she may be able to provide you with some answers. I am really excited to meet you all today and want to say thank you so much for giving me a few minutes just to introduce myself. I've been here now about 2.5 months, and so I'm excited to be here. Previously, I was university librarian at Howard. And as director at Howard, we were very, very engaged with our Student Government Association. We did several events together, and I think one of our biggest ones, which I'm really proud of, is we did voter registration for the students on campus, and it worked out perfectly because it was for absentee ballots, because we didn't know COVID was going to happen. And so the beauty is all of our students already had their absentee ballots, were in the mail and ready for them by the time the campus shut down. All of that stuff when you think about all those things, right? So it was really, really exciting that we had that opportunity to work together. So there are many other activities and events that we did through the university libraries with our student government. I'm going to laugh. If you read the UIC today, I was a student, I remember. Okay, that's why I said if you're gonna laugh. I talked about my 4 priorities, and the first one was student success. I believe that's the reason why the university libraries are here, to make sure that you succeed and be the amazing, wonderful people that you're going to go out and change the world and make it exciting. Our second thing is faculty support, because we're here to actually assist the faculty in helping you become the wonderful people that you're going to be, right? And then the final 2, which are very special to me personally, especially coming from Howard, is DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, and social justice. Because I believe that libraries have to be engaged in all of those things. We are much more than just the resources that we provide for you. Finally, I am a law professor. I'm also a tenured professor in the law school, and this may be a little bit different from our other librarians you may be aware of. And so I teach in a program that's called Inside Out, where I actually take the law students into the jail and teach the classes with incarcerated residents and law students. And so COVID, I'm not going to be able to do it this fall, but fingers crossed we'll be able to go into Cook County Jail in the spring. So I always try to make sure having that opportunity to actually teach the students really keeps me engaged in regards to what it is that students need from the university libraries. So at this time, that was it. That's just kind of a brief overview that I'm here. We are here for you. And I just wanted to, especially to say congratulations to those of you who are on your way out and to be excited to work with those of you who will be here for the next academic year. And at this time, I just want to open the floor for any questions, if you have any.
Does anyone have any questions? Wasan?
If I may, yeah, Dean Ballard Thrower, it's great to meet you. This isn't really a question, actually. Just
I guess a statement. One of the things that we got to do was interview a couple of the candidates. Not everyone, unfortunately. I don't think I got to interview you. But one thing that we emphasize in these interviews is how important we feel the library as a structure to be able to hold on to the sort of momentum that students sometimes generate in these different kind of campaigns to see change on campus. Because so often, these campaigns that end a 4-year cycle when students graduate, or like I myself, I'm graduating in about a week and a half now. And so I'm really excited again to just see that and see that from you. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Mhm.
Yeah, I had a quick question. So you talked about the great work that you did in Howard and how you guys had events with your Student Government Association. But also, I didn't know that you were a tenured professor at the law school. So I was wondering if you would be open to having events with, your law students as well as undergraduate students at UIC. I think that could be super engaging for both campuses, and what your opinion on that is, and if you have any ideas for the next year regarding that.
Okay, so I think that's excellent idea. And so we actually did some events where Howard has 3 campuses. So we actually would draw in the medical students with the law students. And I actually taught a class that was called the Gatekeeper Project, where the students actually took classes with police officers. And it was actually a law school class with an undergrad students. And so that is actually a new program that we have developed with the American University. So I will draw in law students all the time to actually come and work with the undergraduate students, because I think that's important that they stay engaged in that way too. So I look forward to any ideas that you all want to present, when we meet again in the fall semester. I think that's wonderful. I'm open to that. Mhm.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Mhm.
Are there any other questions?
I want to bring Daisy to my meetings. I think Miss Nehru was smiling because, oh man, you know what? You are on it.
Thank you.
And you all don't know this, but I'm a talker. And that's why Miss Nehru is smiling like, wow, she's really going to keep her to 5 minutes. I know this. You see her laugh, So I need to bring you to the library faculty meetings. You were amazing. So once again, I want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you all. And I look so forward to working with those of you who will be here in the fall. So all the best. Congratulations to those who you are graduating. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for presenting. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, all right. So our next guest speaker, Hannah, would you like to introduce them?
Yeah, Mr. Worcester is the director of Campus Care, and I will let him kind of have a couple of minutes to introduce himself.
Good evening, everyone. Can you guys hear me okay? Because I have been having difficulty with Zoom.
Yeah.
Want to make sure that you guys can hear me. And the reason my camera's not on is I have to get really, really close to my computer, and you don't want to see just a full screen.
Yeah, we can hear.
I am the director of the Campus Care program. I've been with the university for 16 years. With oversight of the student benefit program for the last 10 years. The program, for those of you not familiar with it, is a student health benefit plan offered by the university. It is mandatory that students have insurance with the university. And if they have insurance through their parents or an employer or the marketplace or the state of Illinois, you can waive out of Campus Care, and those that don't have insurance are enrolled in the program. The program is funded by the students, for the students. We have a relatively comprehensive website available, which is campuscare.uic.edu available, which has a lot of information available regarding waiving out, reinstating the certificate of coverage, premiums, deadlines for waiver, all of that good stuff. It's to my understanding that there were some folks that had some questions. That is, a 10,000-foot overview of the program, but I want to make sure I have time to address the specific questions that some of you may have for the program.
Yeah, so to start off with, one of the things that we were wondering was that, is it possible to have, similar to the way that private insurance or even like the faculty and staff, the insurance that they have access to, but is it possible to have something similar that shows kind of what the policies cover so that students can kind of take a look and understand more at a glance of whatever they're dealing with, whether or not it would be covered under campus care. My understanding is like the faculty has a document that's like 93 pages of everything that is covered under their policies. But do we have kind of like a guide like that? And is it possible to make one if we don't?
We do have that available, which outlines everything that's covered under the program, everything that would be excluded under the program. It also goes through, adding dependents, whether it's a spouse, significant other, or a child. It's about 70 pages long, and that is available through the Campus Care website. If you go into Google and just type in Campus Care, it is the first thing that comes up. And when you go into the website, there is a tab for certificate of coverage. And that certificate of coverage is a document that was developed, when the program was incepted back in 2004. And any changes to that document goes through a series of committees, and then ultimately is approved. Any changes are approved by the Board of Trustees for the university. But yes, that document is available on our website, and I can type in the link in the chat when we're done here.
Thank you. And then the other question that I had before I'll turn it over to the rest of the group is we did a survey earlier this semester about mental health needs on campus by students. And in that, they kind of expressed interest to expanding campus care coverage to include mental health providers that aren't necessarily through NPI or through the counseling center, and also potentially expanding coverage to include online therapy services like BetterHelp. If this was something that we kind of wanted to push for or ask for, kind of what would be the process of that? And what is the possibility of expanding care to include those things?
So this is something that we've been working with in conjunction with Student Affairs, of expanding our network outside of the Neuropsych Institute through the university for several reasons. And one of the primary initiatives was adding providers of diversity available for our students, which we have added to the program. And we do have a relatively substantial behavioral health network outside of NPI available to our students. Now, in order to access that, so Campus Care operates similar to an HMO or health maintenance organization. And any student that participates in Campus Care needs to establish a relationship with their primary care physician. And all of the primary care needs for the Campus Care students are provided by the Department of Family Medicine. Once a relationship is established with family medicine, you can request an appointment for any one of the providers in our network, and it doesn't necessarily have to be within the university's four walls. We have providers through Advocate that are available, through Presence. We have an array of independent behavioral health providers that are available that aren't necessarily affiliated with a large system like Northwestern or Advocate or Amita Health, et cetera. So those are available. If there are providers that are not in the network that can't, if we don't have a provider that can fill a specific behavioral health need, we will contract with one. But we can provide, if you want to provide an email, we can provide that network of behavioral health specialists that we have available, so you can kind of understand the breadth of the options students have that are outside of the university's four walls.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hannah, did you want to make a motion?
Yeah, just motion to add 5 more minutes to the time.
Okay, so there has been a motion to extend time by 5 minutes until about 6:30-ish, or sorry, 6:35-ish. Everybody who is in favor of extending the time, please say aye.
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 Um, all that opposed, please say nay. Does anybody abstain? Okay, all right, time has been extended until 6:35. Does anybody have any other questions?
Yeah, I had a quick question, Speaker Sancheva, if I could. Thanks. Thanks for being here this evening, Mr. Wister. A super quick question. A student reached out to me with regards to an issue that they had with campus care coverage, where they had been diagnosed with breast cancer, and as a result of that, they were looking to pursue fertility preservation services, something that is supposed to be covered under Illinois law through insurance companies and the such. And we were wondering, and she mentioned, of course, that at UIC this wasn't the case and she was unable to access these services. And so my two questions were really, are there different, are there certain inconsistencies between what's kind of locally or statewide mandated and what campus care covers? And are there plans to maybe expand campus care to cover some of these, sometimes more niche or nuanced treatments?
Sure, absolutely. The answer to that is yes and yes. So there are some differences between a commercial health plan that would fall under the jurisdiction of the Department of Insurance and Illinois Insurance Code and campus care. The campus care program was developed under the Religious and Charitable Risk Pooling Trust Act. It's Illinois Statute 215 ILCS 150. So it was established under that act as providing coverage for students and their dependents. With that said, it does not fall under the jurisdiction of the Department of Insurance and the regulations that are applicable. I will tell you that the program is certified with CMS as a minimal essential coverage plan through the Affordable Care Act. So we do provide all of the coverages that the federal government requires us to provide under the Affordable Care Act, but with respect to Illinois, we do not report to the Department of Insurance. However, with this specific case, this document that I referred to earlier as their certificate of coverage, which outlines the program, is a document that has been evolving for the last 17 years that the program has been in existence. This specific issue that you mentioned is something that we are looking into immediately for this specific student, given the circumstances. It is something that we are going to be presenting. We are hoping by Wednesday to the Campus Care Oversight Committee to amend our certificate of coverage to provide this specific treatment that the student is looking for, and have it added, have our certificate actually amended to have this added. So these are things that we do understand it doesn't cover. This is the first time in 17 years that we've run across this. We do understand the importance of it. We understand the urgency of it, and we are working diligently on putting together a package to present to the oversight committee that oversees the program to see if we can do an emergency change to our certificate of coverage so the member can receive those benefits. That is something, again, that needs to be reviewed and approved by the oversight committee. It's not something the campus care administration has the unilateral ability to just change it. We actually report and have to answer to a larger power than just our administrative office. But yes, that specific issue is something that we're looking into, and we are hoping to have a decision made for that member. And also keep in mind that when we make an exception for one member, we're making the exception for the entire population. We insure about 12,000 students every fall and roughly 10,500 students in the spring. And that change isn't going to be an exception that we make for one student. That's going to be a change that will be implemented into the certificate of coverage from this point going forward. So we do have to, review the impact and the ramifications of adding something like that for the entire student body. But that is actively being addressed right now, I can assure you of that.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So we have time for one more question, and then I see that Quentin has his hand raised. So go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So, Dr. Worster, a lot of schools do campus care a little bit differently. Some of them even call it specifically campus care. So they usually do it where it's not actually an insurance program like it is here at UIC. So they do it where it's just kind of on campus, they have access to the clinic, and in order to not have to use their insurance services. Can I ask what is the reason that we specifically do it the way that we do as compared to more like that?
Well, I think you'll see that in even in Champaign-Urbana, there's two different fees that are applicable to any student that enrolls that isn't an online student only, where they're not charged with tuition and fees. Every student is assessed a student health fee, a student health services fee, and then those that decide to have campus care or choose to have their insurance coverage through campus care are also assessed a student benefit fee. And for our program, they work in conjunction with one another. So students, every single student that goes to the University of Illinois at Chicago has access to those services that you're referring to through the Department of Family Medicine. They have those preventative services available. There's counseling services available. There's a contraceptive benefit that's available through the College of Pharmacy, and there is, a wellness center benefit that is also available to the students, all through the student health service fee. And then campus care sits on top of that. So essentially anything that isn't covered via the student health service fee, we sit on top of that and cover in addition to what's covered under the student health service fee. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. So essentially, we have all of the what other schools call campus care already baked into what we pay for as students in our fees, and then campus care is just kind of an additional thing that we can do as a replacement for insurance, because we are required to have insurance.
So most colleges will have that student health service available, where you can go in, to a university-based clinic, to get a physical, to get a shot, if you think you have the flu, if you need to talk to someone, schedule an appointment with a counselor. Most universities have that available, and then they have the insurance, which is not the health services. So it can be a little bit confusing, totally understanding it can be confusing. But they do work in conjunction with one another.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. That's all the time that we have, unfortunately. If anybody has any more questions, David, if you could please put any of your information in the chat so that our members could reach out if they have any more questions. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for explaining everything that we've asked you. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, or you're welcome to leave if you'd like.
Thank you. I will post the website URL in the chat, where you can find the certificate of coverage, as well as my email address. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to send me an email and I'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You guys have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Okay. All right. So the next order of business is old business. And first, we have Resolution 2021-S11-1107. So, Hassan, if you'd like to either quickly read it or summarize it.
Yeah, I'll do my best to summarize. So this is a resolution that I presented last week in support of Anak Bayan at UIC and the Filipino Human Rights Act. And essentially, again, it's a sort of something that many student governments have signed on to across the country, where we stand in solidarity with various Filipino student organizations, as well as activists across the country and overseas in the Philippines, standing against extrajudicial killings, essentially very punitive and terrorizing laws and regime over in the country of the Philippines. And so we're hoping to sign on in solidarity with them with the solidarity letter and endorse their campaign, as well as support them in any way that we can. So that's essentially what resolution 2021-S11-1107 is calling for.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions, comments, amendments to this resolution? And just as a reminder, since this is the last meeting for the semester, all of the resolutions, old and new, would have to be voted on tonight. So please, if you have any questions or any comments or amendments, please make sure to state that. Anything? Okay, all right. If there are no comments, then we can move on to voting. So all those in favor of Resolution 2021-S11-1107, please say aye.
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 All that oppose, please say nay. Does anybody abstain? Okay, the ayes have it, and this resolution has passed. Next, we have Resolution 2021-S11-105. And Matt, if you'd like to, is Matt present today?
Hey,
Or was
Daisy.
that Mohammed?
Matt is
Yep,
not present, so I'll present on behalf
go
of
ahead.
him. So this is resolution 2021-S11-105. It has to do with the engineering design team funding. The chief sponsor is Matthew Selfaraj, co-sponsor is Treasurer Anjanea Monuri, myself, and Representative Megan B. So do you guys want me to read the resolution or just summarize it?
You can summarize it.
Okay, so essentially this has to do with the engineering design team, which presented 2 weeks ago about how they want a furniture upgrade for their offices and how they're looking for a source of funding so they can upgrade their facilities so that they can have different people come together and operate on a better platform than they are currently. So as a result, because they haven't found any other means of fundings and haven't gotten a lot of support from other institutional platforms at USC, they're asking USC to fund $1,006.34 to better the headquarters in hopes that anyone who does enter the team will have a better experience. So if we just scroll down a little bit, these are all the prices for what USC will be paying for. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any comments, questions, or concerns?
Yeah, so I have a question. So what is the return they're going to do for USG? Like, are they going to brand these chairs or?
I believe they said that they would add as like a sponsor during their competitions, like their robotics competitions and such, and then also make known to their new members and future members that USG has supported the funding for these amenities.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions, amendments? Anything before we move on to voting? Okay, all right. So we can move on to voting. So all those in favor of Resolution 2021-S11-105, please say aye.
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 All that oppose, please say nay. Does anybody abstain? Okay, the ayes have it, and this resolution has passed. The next order of business is new business. And first, we have Resolution 2021-S12-102. And this is Hannah. This is your resolution, which I changed the name to. But if you could please read it.
Yeah. Sorry, just adjusting my screen. Okay. So this resolution is free menstrual product dispensers at UIC. And it begins, whereas allowing students to have access to free menstrual products is a priority for the undergraduate student government. And whereas USG, the American Medical Women's Association, Code Red at UIC, and Blood Buds have been working together to achieve such a goal, and as such would like to have their logos placed on the machines. And whereas the Vice President and Secretary of USG have engaged in conversation with Sarah from Aunt Flo in order to contract the purchase of 23 product dispensers that will serve an estimated 5,500 total users. And whereas the suggested dispensers, called Model E Mount to the Wall, come with a lifetime warranty, are ADA compliant, have braille on their handles to make them accessible, and is the dispenser with the largest capacity on the market, with 50 tampons and 50 pads, and will allow for students to access these products free of charge. And whereas the specifications for the products, the pads and tampons that, oh, sorry, I messed that up. The specifications for the products, specifically the pads and the tampons, are that they are 100% organic cotton and 100% biodegradable, with smooth tip applicators for the tampons, and the pads are medium flow with wings. And whereas the total cost associated with purchasing the products for this initiative in its first year is $19,600 for both the dispensers and the refills, $200 each for each of the 23 dispensers, and 6,500 count pad and tampon packages at $125 each. And for every year thereafter, the total cost to refill the products would be $15,000. And whereas the cost for contracting the carpenters that would be in charge of installation through UIC is $1,675. And whereas Chancellor Amarita said he would allocate the money for the initiative this year, and whereas the group has identified the following buildings for installation of the menstrual product dispensers, essentially the library, SCE, and then one in a couple of the other lecture centers, and in the ARC, and buildings spread across campus. And then whereas the group has spoken to the following facilities managers to obtain permission for installation, their names are as follows. Whereas the following issues are outstanding, where the items will be stored once they are purchased, and who will refill the products in bathrooms that aren't the ARC or SCE. And then also which office or person would be in charge of like ensuring that if the machines are broken, they'll follow up with the warranty. And then that's all in the process of being solved with administration. And whereas this is the last meeting for this administration of student government, so let it be resolved that the dispensers will be purchased from Aunt Flo and placed in the bathrooms that were aforementioned. And this project will be overseen by USG, specifically by myself. Let it be further resolved that the next administration will consider factoring the restocking costs of $1,500 into budget cuts in the future, unless the chancellor agrees to cover these costs as well. And let it be further resolved that the future administrations of USG will take on the responsibility of ensuring that the machines are being properly used, administration is refilling the machines in a timely fashion, and more machines can be purchased if necessary. And finally, let it be further resolved that USG is willing to provide the funds to print the stickers for advertising the 4 groups that were working on this project on the dispensers at a cost of $62 through Amazon. And then that is the design.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any comments, questions, or concerns about this resolution?
Yeah, I have a question. So the only thing we're purchasing this year are the stickers, correct?
Yeah. So the chancellor basically said that he is going to take care of purchasing everything else.
Okay, thank you.
And then I just wanted to like clarify it because I know sometimes in like the written language it sounds a little confusing, but all that I'm suggesting is that we kind of keep a little bit of oversight and make sure that this is going according to plan in terms of like future administration, because obviously I will be leaving, but kind of making sure that people are rolling the ball on this is essentially all I'm saying with this resolution. Oh, sorry, I forgot the last part, but let it further be resolved that USG promotes this project and trusts that Vice President will see it through to completion to the best of her abilities by fall 2021, and if not, will entrust members of the body who will not be graduating to complete the installation of these machines.
Are there any other? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a quick question. Would this be installed in the all gender restrooms or in the restrooms for women?
Yeah, so we, I didn't put the codes of the bathrooms on here necessarily, but we essentially picked female restrooms, but then we were making sure that in some of the all gender restrooms, they were available as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a comment. Just like a real quick one. Yeah, when I met with Representative Stewart a few weeks ago, one of her initiatives was also implementing menstrual products in the in schools, and she's introducing a bill with like a piece of legislation for this. So I'm glad that we're just taking the initiative on this.
Thank you. Does anybody have any other thoughts? Any amendments? As a reminder, this will probably be voted on tonight. So if anyone wants to say anything, now is the time to do so. Okay, seems like there are no more comments.
Then yeah, I'd like to use an executive order to allow Resolution 2021-S12-1002 to be voted on tonight.
Okay, the president has called for an executive order, so we will be voting on this tonight. All those in favor of passing Resolution 2021-S12-1002, please say aye.
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 All that opposed, please say nay. Does anybody abstain? Okay, the ayes have it, and this resolution has passed. Before we move to the next resolution, just really quickly, if anyone needs to leave, please send me a message before you do so. Okay, let's move on to the next resolution, which is Resolution 2021-S12-600. Daniel, would you like to read this? Dania, would you like to present this resolution?
So I'm actually going to be reading instead of
Oh,
Danya
okay.
because she has to head out. But yeah, so this is the resolution for portable bidet funding. The chief sponsor is Representative Danya, and co-sponsors are the chairman of Diversity and Inclusion Committee, Bayan. Whereas the Diversity and Inclusion Committee actively works to honor the many cultures and faiths of UIC. While bidets are very rarely used in the United States, they have higher prevalence in many parts of the world. Countries that use bidets make sure that these utilities are accessible for its people, not only in the household, but in almost all public places and especially in schools, being 81% of almost all public spaces in Eastern and Central Asian countries. And whereas bidets play an essential hygienic role in practice for the many cultures and religions of the students at UIC, as it is a part of their hygiene tradition, cultural norms, and religious practices. Many Eastern Asian cultures have historically used bidets and continue to advance this for their people so as to keep the practice going, especially in countries like Japan, South Korea, China. Many South Asian and Central Asian countries use bidets as to accommodate and uphold the religious practices of Muslims, in which this is the standard for daily hygiene. And whereas portable bidets can encourage USG for all students to feel recognized and understood in their daily customs. Bidets come in many forms depending on where they're being used. The overall benefit is that it will not only allow us to promote a more hygienic environment for the bathrooms and students' personal business, but also to uphold and include the practices of students who come from different countries, cultures, and faiths where this is a norm or requirement. Then let it be resolved, the portable bidet funding will ensure that students of UIC will have access to to portable bidets, USG will allocate no more than $1,300 to fund this initiative and purchase portable bidets to be placed in cultural centers. Each bottle will include a USG info card where students can be informed about USG. And furthermore, not only one bidet will be allowed for each student. So this is like an information sheet specifically like about some of the research that Danya conducted and like the cost of each bidet. And then would you like me to read over everything or just kind of summarize it?
You can just summarize if you like.
Okay, perfect. I think most of the key points of the research were stated in the actual resolution, but I wanted to note near the end, we're going to be purchasing about 200 bidets, I think 200 bidets, yeah, and each one is $5.99, which is where the total of 1,198 comes from before tax, and then the 1,300 would be used altogether for the bidets, the cost of tax and shipping, and then the cards that I mentioned. So for the cards, we had this idea of, since it's not really going to be that effective to place stickers on the actual bidets, we're going to be placing information cards inside, like kind of when you get like a little card with a new water bottle, it's like just inside with like a bunch of information, and that's going to contain some info about USG and about how each student is only allowed one. And so, yeah, just that. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you, Nina. So I know that since Danya's not here, I don't know if Nina could answer any questions, but Bayan should be able to. Does anybody have any comments or questions regarding this resolution?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions actually. My first one, I guess, was really about if you all had any information around the usage of these portable bidets. I mean, you're asking for 200 here, but I was wondering if that kind of number just came out of any, like, I guess, more specific metrics that you might have access to.
So as far as I know, the 200 like didn't come from specific metrics, but I think we were gonna order like a base of 200, and then if we like kind of run out, then maybe we could order more. But I feel like that was just kind of like a base number.
Yeah, no, again, totally understand that. Right, like, I mean, we've talked about the idea of, installing bidets in the existing bathrooms or creating some sort of way to ensure that students feel comfortable. But I also do really want to be intentional with the way that we do this. I don't necessarily know that the students who reached out to Daisy are also, looking to use, I guess, portable bidet sprayers. And kind of on the flip side of that, like, I think that there is a lot of room to make a really, really effective initiative out of this, but we're also at like the very end of USG for this semester. And so I'm not entirely sure, like, if maybe this might be something that's better to think about over the summer, right? If you want to like survey students, or if you want to get a letter of support from MSA or the other students who had reached out initially to kind of do contact on this. But those are just some of the thoughts that I had.
I can kind of answer that, Wasan, because I also
Yeah.
worked on this initiative. But basically, our first goal was to install the bidets directly onto the toilets. But then upon further inspection, it turned out that the toilets are not really the type that could actually be done to. Just basically like their structure, it's not really possible to attach a bidet to it. And then we kind of went towards, well, what if we renovated the bathrooms so that, that way we could modernize them and we could include the bidets to it. And I was informed, I think Michelle mentioned something about how the administration is not very fond of redoing the entire bathrooms at this moment. It'll probably be at least a few more years until they decide to do that. So at this point, our hands are tied on what we could do. And the only thing that we really could do was the portable bidets. So that's kind of what this resolution is about. Now, I don't know if it said it anywhere in the resolution. I may have missed it. But our initial goal was to have a resolution that basically says that whenever the bathrooms do get renovated, USG supports adding a bidet to it. I don't know if this is included in here or not, but that's kind of something that we wanted to include in the resolutions first.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Daisy. I think actually one of the important points you mentioned there is the idea of renovation. And I remember at one point, like I had connected Chairwoman Hamad with Brian Cousins over facilities to sort of go about addressing the sort of proposal or kind of looking at the idea of being able to actually go into this program as bathrooms are being renovated, because they are doing certain renovations like in SE and other places like that. And this would be the perfect time to hop in on something like that. And so I don't know that those conversations like necessarily went anywhere further. And so I definitely think it would be useful to continue with the like a statement or some sort of follow up like that next year or something.
Okay, thank you. Anshu?
Yeah, so I had a question about like the cards and the stickers. So um, just for the bidets, it would be 1,200. And so I know you guys are making cards. I don't know if that's like coming out of the budget or if you guys are like purchasing cards or if you guys are like handwriting them. But for the cards and the stickers, do you guys have like price quotes on that? And with like the $100 like difference between the cost of the bidets and how much you're asking for, will that cover the stickers and the cards that are included in this initiative?
I can try to answer that. So I think as of right now, we aren't like planning on putting the actual stickers onto the portable days. I think the cards was like more so where we were going towards. But even including tax and shipping, it shouldn't reach the 1,300. So the leftover could be used towards the cards.
And do you know like when I would like receive the RFFs and all that for the cards? Do you guys have like an exact price quote, or is that like just a estimate?
I don't believe there's an exact price quote as of yet. I can try asking either Danya or Brian about that though.
Okay, thank you.
I would just like to add really quickly about the cards. There is a way for you guys to do it without spending any money, and that would be just creating the cards on a Word document and then printing it out. And then at the library, they have paper cutters, those really big ones. So you can cut the cards individually. Since it's only 200 days, it'll only be 200 cards. And that's like a way to do it for free because the university will cover the cost of printing.
Right. Thank you so much for mentioning that.
Are there
So
any other? Oh, go ahead.
yes, I have a question. So then, let's just say we do purchase these. So who will this be given to like manage the distribution?
So the cultural centers will be in charge of distributing them. And so I think Brian has already been in contact with them and kind of like given them more details about that.
Okay. And so let's just say you get all the funds, so you're gonna order this right away.
I was hoping so, yeah. I think that was what the committee was planning on doing. If not, I understand like it's obviously like really close to the end of the year and we could possibly just put this in over fall. I'm not sure if anyone else from my committee has more details on that.
I don't know exactly, but I do know that Bayan did mention this is something that could just roll over into the fall, especially because students aren't really going to be on campus the next couple weeks.
Right. So I think if it's going to be rolled over in the fall anyway, I think maybe then we should just wait and then give the fundings for next year.
I think we have enough time. Like our budget doesn't end till May 15th, and so I still have enough time to process the funding for this, and so the budget still has enough money for this initiative, and so I think it might be smarter to just use the money that we have left instead of giving it back to the Dean of Students office. And whether you guys want to store it until the fall is up to you, but I think it would be smarter to purchase it now.
Daniela?
And
Sorry, Matthew, Daniela has her hand raised.
Sorry, my question would be, do we have any information or have we reached out to any person that would use the bidets on just how they would feel about using portable bidets instead of like the ones in the bathroom? If not, if these were to roll over to the fall semester, I would definitely encourage the people leading this to have like to reach out and see if this is like an alternative, because I completely understand that the university is not really helping right now with the renovating everything, but maybe like I don't know much about bidets, but maybe if I just don't know if they would feel like as comfortable using the portable ones.
Yeah, I hope you don't mind if I also go in just because I can't raise my hand on the thing. Yeah, I also like really like agree with what Danny said. And also to your point, Anshu, like, yeah, like we do have funds, but we're also looking to again, dedicate about $50,000 to housing. And if you just run the math really quickly, like $1,000 like might not be that much, but we're also like already at only 47 left. So we're already like a little behind what we had initially kind of hoped to give in. And also just echoing Danny's point, like I think this can like blossom into something like really, really amazing. And I think we have a lot of room I mean, I already think this is amazing. I think there's a lot of room to continue to move forward, like with like the students who had initially done the outreach, like with MSA and the other groups, because if we can continue to, you know, build those bonds and build that coalition, we can really go a long ways to making sure that this is extraordinarily effective.
Matthew, did you want to add anything?
yeah, I was just going to mention exactly what Wasan was going to talk about. I was going to ask Anshu if he was like including the emergency housing like funds for that. But also it's just, yeah, I think just like introducing this at the very last meeting, I think it's better just to do this next fall. Just because then we can you know like properly implement this and like properly get students to know about this.
Anshu?
Yeah, so the amount of funds we have after the 50,000 going towards housing without all the past resolutions that were voted on today is $4,714.25. And so we do still have enough for the resolutions that we passed, including this one and the 50K towards housing, and anything that isn't any money left over is going to be included into the housing. So it'll go on top of the 50K for housing.
Why don't you just say that to begin with?
Oh, I thought I made myself clear, but yeah, that's what I meant.
I think that if we have the funds, then we should go for it. It's definitely a great initiative to do because we have a lot of students who would use those bidets. And it also shows that we are committed to being inclusive to everybody. And even if it's just, yeah, it's only 200, but it's the summer's coming up. There's not going to be a lot of people on campus, so I think 200 would be a perfect start. And then in the fall, we can definitely get back to it and and actually look into other solutions. Bathroom renovations, working with the administration, purchasing more bidets, etc. But I think this would be a really good start, especially if we have money. Everybody who knows how budgets work knows that and you don't want to have money left over because in the following year they're going to give you less. So I think it's a good idea to spend it on something that the students would care about. Daniela?
Yeah, then I would say if we were to pass this, or if the body was to pass this resolution, I would definitely suggest while like having it, making sure to get that feedback from the students, because we don't know when the university is going to be able to renovate bathrooms and when the bidets are going to be more stable. Then definitely maybe having also with the cultural centers a survey or anything like that would definitely like get us the feedback from this for the next administration to decide if the portable bidets are actually functioning or not. So having this as a pilot, I think would definitely help.
Yeah, I would actually go so far as to say that I think that should be an amendment maybe to the resolution that we have right now, just to ensure that that is like clear that like, you know, that's kind of expected, right? That there is this like partnership with student organizations, that there is this sort of survey of like both usage as well as ensuring, right, that students are aware that this is happening. I mean, I traditionally don't show up to the cultural center expecting to get bidets or really any resources other than to just kind of hang out and see people. So I'd actually like to go ahead and propose an amendment to this resolution under this like last subsection here and the last whereas about portable bidets, just saying, you know, like whereas then the chair of the Diversity Inclusion Committee alongside their representatives will conduct a survey of associated student organizations, including or such as or including the Muslim Student Association, as well as a greater survey of usage amongst the cultural centers of this initiative. And I will write that all down in the chat.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Daniela, did you have your hand raised, or is that from last time?
My bad, my bad. It was I put it down.
You're fine. Matthew, that's a good point. At this point, we were looking for them to be the cheapest they could be. So that unfortunately, it's only one color. It's only that color. And if it was a different color or more color options, it would be more expensive. So our goal for right now is to provide more for less money rather than provide options.
Okay, I see. Purple's like my least favorite color, so but it's fine.
While we're waiting on the amendment, does anybody have any other comments or questions? Thank you, Wasan. Let's see. Okay. All right, so there has been a motion to add an amendment to this resolution to say, whereas the chair of diversity and inclusion, alongside their representatives, will conduct a survey of associated student organizations such as the Muslim Student Association and the cultural centers involved to determine usage and student support for this initiative. All those in favor of adding this amendment, please say aye.
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 All that opposed, please say nay. Does anybody abstain? Okay, the ayes have it, and this amendment has been added. Are there any other thoughts on this resolution? Any other comments or thoughts before we move on to voting? Okay, it looks like there is no more comments. Wasan, would you like to make this an executive order?
Yes, I would. I'd like to use an executive order to move resolution 2021-S12-600 to be voted on tonight.
Okay, there has been a motion, or sorry, the president has decided to make this an executive order, so we will be voting on this tonight. All those in favor of passing resolution 2020, oh god, it says 2020, okay, 2020-S12-600, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All that opposed, please say nay. Does anybody abstain? Okay, the ayes have it, and this resolution has passed. Next we have resolution, hold on one second. Resolution 2021-S12-602. So, Kyla, are you going to be able to present it?
Yeah, I'll just be a little quiet, guys. Sorry. Who's in charge of the screen right now? Can you zoom in a little bit? Sorry. Okay, cool. So this is in recognition of the building names that are named after some political figures on campus. Chief sponsor me, and co-sponsor is Bayan. Whereas UIC has several buildings across campus named in honor of historical political figures and leaders. Many of these figures were slaveholders and often held racist, sexist, homophobic, and xenophobic beliefs and values, which they often tried to institutionalize through social policies and societal norms. The names are as follows. So we have Jefferson Hall, which is named after the third US president, Thomas Jefferson, who bought, enslaved, and sold African people throughout his lifetime and continuously supported the institution of American chattel slavery. And then Taylor Street Building is named after the 12th US President, Zachary Taylor, who owned enslaved people of African descent and participated in colonizing Mexico on behalf of the US through the Mexican-American War. Then, let it be resolved in response to the 2020 Juneteenth statement from Black student leaders at UIC, we demand UIC to immediately release a statement in which they, 1, acknowledge untold truths of these historic political figures, 2, promise to replace the names of the buildings stated above, and 3, use this as an opportunity to further improve upon an environment that upholds white supremacy. And let it be further resolved, USG, alongside Black student leaders at UIC, will work with UIC administration to facilitate the process of replacing names of buildings mentioned in the resolution once all contract agreements regarding building titles have expired. Yes, that's all.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any comments or questions regarding this resolution? Jocelyn?
So hi everyone, I'm Jocelyn. For those that weren't here, I should probably lower my hand. So with building renaming, that is actually a board of trustees thing. So you would need to have a proposal created and passed by the board of trustees. I'm not sure if I mentioned this during the last time, but it's been a while, so I'll mention it again. Currently, UIC is in the process of renaming the John Marshall Law School. So when I met with the vice president of the U of I system, she mentioned that it would be UIC's benefit to see how that process goes. So if you want to follow up with your trustee-elect on that, I definitely can provide you with his information. My last board meeting is in May, so I don't know if the proposal for that building renaming is going to be on the agenda, but I can definitely double check. But I would say all that is to say, I definitely recommend that you guys keep track of how the John Marshall Law School renaming process goes before you pursue UIC renaming on campus, because it'll tell you a lot more about what processes you'll need to cover, and then getting in contact with the trustee-elect so that you can work on a proposal. But yeah, I'll follow up on the agenda for May to see if the John Marshall renaming is on the agenda. Any questions on that?
Yeah, I have. So Bayan did mention that this was like you kind of knew more about this, but we weren't aware that it was like a separate thing that we had to do. So I am sorry to everyone that we did this. If this was a waste of time, I don't know.
It's not. It's good to have it on the floor, and you guys can start a committee definitely for next semester to work with your trustee on a proposal. It's just, yeah, it's like a lot of like bureaucracies on the side of like the system.
So my only question with that is I did read a little bit of like what's going on with John Marshall, and in terms of like following up with it, it's like not going to happen until, not that it's not going to happen, but there won't be a renaming until like 2024. So in terms of like just following up and like doing something now, and seeing like what we can do on our end for these buildings, like how would you recommend we like use that as an example, since nothing can, I mean, I don't know if nothing can happen until 2024, or like exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, I told Bayan I would do this and I forgot. I'm sorry, Bayan. But I'll email the secretary, because right now
the University of Illinois System Vice President Barb Wilson, who's like I've had meetings with. She's a finalist for like University of Iowa presidency. So there's like another person taking her spot while that's in the process. But but Greg should be a point person. So I'll email him to ask if there's any documentation about the current John Marshall renaming, or like if he could provide a summary of the process. Because I do know it's a little bit difficult because John Marshall used to be a different, institution, and a lot of alum are pushing back on the renaming because they did graduate from there. And UIC is a bit different because their buildings, I wouldn't say like are as nationally recognized. So I'll follow up with the secretary and then I'll CC you and Bayon on that email so that we can get information on this because it is different.
Yeah, thank you. I think that was pretty much all. We also wanted to do this in support of the demands letter that was released last year. So I guess it's not a waste of time, everyone. But yeah, thank you for that information. That's super helpful. I actually started to be interested. I took up this resolution because I was interested in the John Marshall renaming. So yeah, so also thank you for bringing that up.
No, it's a good resolution. We have racist names on campus. Like,
All right. Well, thank you both. Kayla, what would you like to do with this resolution? Would you like to proceed or would you like to table it indefinitely? Or until some point?
Are there any recommendations on what I should do?
Yeah. I mean, for me, like I sent you what the Senate's voting. God, what the Senate is voting on right now, which is exactly what Jocelyn was talking about, this proposal. And I think that they love to see letters of support, and they'll be happy to collate those. And this definitely can exist as one of them. So I'm happy to move this up to vote on tonight if you're still interested.
Okay, yeah. I also think it's important that we pass it because again, it shows support for the demands letter that was sent, that was released last summer. So yeah, if there are no more questions, I'm
I
down.
have a question.
Oh yeah.
Was this specifically a part of the demands letter?
Yes, these two names exactly were. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Does anybody have any comments, questions, or concerns about this resolution?
I have a question. Does this include in the resolution? I'm not sure there are more pages. Like say like that this is a letter like to support the demands that are having. If not, could we amend that to be like clear that we are supporting that?
I just wasn't clear enough in writing it, but I have it in the first let it be resolved here. But I can fix it or add it somewhere else if you think it's more effective. Yeah.
No, I wasn't seeing it. That I think that works. Thank you.
I have a quick comment, Kayla, for let it be resolved under point 3, where it says use this as an opportunity to further improve upon an environment that upholds white supremacy. That I know what you meant, but I think that this sounds a little bit wrong. Like to me, it kind of sounds like we want to improve upon upholding white supremacy is what it sounds like to me. So maybe it would be a good idea to tweak
No,
the
that makes
wording a little bit.
Yeah. We can change it. What do you recommend?
Does anybody have any recommendations for how to change it?
I mean, you can just replace like upholds to like rejects, or yeah, that's probably what I would do. If I were to amend, I would just change 2 things. I guess I would replace response in that paragraph to support of. So instead of response to, support of. And then I would replace upholds with rejects, and then I think you'd be golden. So I'll just do that. I'd like to move to amend Resolution 2021-S12 to 601 in paragraph 5. Let it be resolved. The following text, replace in response to with in support of, and replace upon an environment that upholds white supremacy to upon an environment that rejects white supremacy.
Okay. All right. So there has been a motion to change this to say in support of a statement, and also in point 3 to say to improve upon an environment that rejects white supremacy. So all those in favor of upholding these changes, please say aye.
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 All that oppose, please say nay. Does anybody abstain? Okay, the ayes have it, so this amendment has been made. Are there any other comments, questions, or concerns about this resolution before we move on to voting? Okay. What sound would you like to motion to? Or you don't even have to
Yeah,
motion?
I'd like to use an executive order to move Resolution 2021-S12-601 to be voted on tonight.
Okay, President has called for an executive order for this resolution. So all those in favor of passing Resolution 2021-S12-601, please say aye.
Aye.
All that oppose, please say nay. Does anybody abstain? Okay, the ayes have it, and this resolution has passed. Next, we have Resolution 2021-S12-406. I forgot who motioned for that.
Aitana, I believe.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so Resolution 2021 S12406, the title is Shipping Cost Reserve.
Aitana, I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you think it could be possible for you to maybe share your screen so we could see it?
Yes, of course. Give me one moment, please. Okay. How does that look? All right. Resolution 2021 S12406, Shipping Cost Reserve. Chief sponsor is I, Aitana. Whereas the merchandise order from the 2020 through 2021 academic year need to be shipped to respective USG members who filled out the USG Merch Initiative form. And whereas the PRC chair is uncertain of how much shipping will cost because some members have offered to help distribute the items. And whereas USG no longer upholds the reimbursement policy used in the fall 2020 semester when the Speaker of the House and Chief of Staff shipped winter care packages to the body, then let it be reserved, USG shall hold a reserve of $1,200 for Aitana to use specifically for shipping costs during the summer only with provided proof of FedEx/USP/shipping company receipts. Let it be further resolved, all unused money will be returned to USG, and furthermore, this resolution acts similar to USG's previous reimbursement policy.
Okay, Anshu?
Yes, I'm a little bit confused here. So all of our money that isn't spent by May 15th is basically not going to be able to be spent by us. And so are you asking for us to hold the money over the summer so that whenever you figure out the actual cost, we would pay you over the summer? Or are you just asking for us to possibly reimburse you by May 15th?
Over the summer would be preferable.
Yeah, so that's not possible. We can't do that.
Okay. Is there a way for me to kind of figure out everything before May 15th?
Even before May 15th, like May 15th is when the budget basically becomes zero. So it would still take some time to process. And last week I said like April 26th would be basically the last day I would accept RFFs just so that our business associate has enough time to process everything. So it's kind of like a tight schedule. You kind of need to figure it out pretty quickly.
Okay, because I'm just kind of confused on who's willing to help ship it or deliver it to people's houses, because there were some people who offered to do it, and I'm totally unsure how much shipping will cost entirely.
What is it that you're shipping, Aitana? Is it very heavy?
So my plan is to get boxes and then have each person's address, name, and what they ordered for their apparel in it, and also the remaining like water bottles, pens, keychains, etc.
Okay, so it depends on the weight. So for example, I know that if it's like a pound or maybe 2 pounds ish, it would cost you maybe like $8 to ship each box, but it depends on the weight. They like with the I think with the amount of weight that you would have, they would start at like $7 each. But I don't think it's gonna go more than like $10 per box. So it's gonna be between 7 and 10, and I think like a middle eight ish would be reasonable in my opinion.
Okay.
Danny?
Yeah, I would say in my experience, shipping always changes. So I don't think like if you Google like how much approximately you would spend, it always changes when you actually go there and like package it. So if you are not able to package it before the day, I would definitely suggest just let's not ship it and let's just have it in the office and let's invite everyone to come next week. We're, for example, I don't know if this is already in the office or in your house, but next week we're supposed to be having we are having the end of the year party. So I think that would be a good place to also pick that up. And if not, we could always save for the members that are not able to go physically. They could go and we can have some dates over the summer. And if not, we could also have it for next fall. But I would definitely not say like for you to spend this money, because I definitely think that the refunding would be an issue. And yeah, just I'm just basically saying like don't overthink it. You could always just store it on the university and have people come for them whenever they are available throughout the end of the semester, throughout the summer or next year.
Okay, cool. I like that idea. And for the graduating seniors, if the next PRC chair would like, we can possibly ship it to them. But yeah, just storing it at my house or at USG, whichever one's fine. I like that idea.
I think it would be great if it's in the office because generally, like in the past, that's where our apparels have been. And every time we would have an in-person event, we would bring some and we would play games, and then we would give out the apparel, and it was pretty fun. So I think the office would be a good storing place where everybody who wants some would be able to access it.
All right, cool. So are you guys cool with just next year getting your stuff instead of immediately?
Yeah, that's fine. Do you know if maybe they would arrive by the time that we have the end of the year party next week?
No, they haven't arrived yet.
No. Okay. Danny, did you have your hand raised, or was that from last time?
So sorry. I just keep forgetting.
No worries. Does anybody have any other comments or questions? Any other questions?
Can I revoke the resolution then?
You can table it indefinitely, which basically means that it's not gonna it's not gonna be voted on anytime
Awesome.
ever.
May I then motion to table it indefinitely?
Okay, there has been a motion to table this resolution indefinitely. All those in favor uh, of tabling this resolution, please say aye.
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 All that are opposed, please say nay. Does anybody abstain? Okay, the ayes have it, so this has been tabled indefinitely. Um, okay, I think this was the last resolution for today. So we can move on to the next order of business, which is items for discussion. And first, we have our food funding time item for discussion. So Anshu, if you'd like to talk more about that.
Yeah, so I had a meeting with our business associate, Karen Martin, who basically handles all the purchases for USG. And I met with her to show her like the forms that you guys filled out and, the answers that were generated and all your food orders, and just make sure that there were no questions or any like issues with proceeding with the food order. And so it also came to my attention that, it is the month of Ramadan. And so I want to be inclusive for all those members that might be fasting till like 7:30 ish. Previously, now everyone coming to UIC will still will continue to get their food at 6 o'clock. But previously I mentioned that everyone that would be picking up from a location near their house, which is not at UIC, would pick up their food at 12. And so just to be more inclusive of everyone who's observing the month of Ramadan, I'm asking the body if you guys would be more comfortable with picking up your food at 7 o'clock rather than at 12. And so I just wanted to gauge that response from the body. And this is for everyone that isn't coming to UIC. This is for everyone that's picking up their food from the suburbs or wherever they are. For whoever filled out the food order form, are you okay with picking up your food at 7 p.m. rather than at 12 p.m.?
So Daisy's not here, so I'll be like kind of chairing the discussion. So Mohammed, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. So being someone who's going to observe Ramadan, for me, the time to break the fast is actually coming up, so I have to leave real quick. So having that 7 p.m. window to get food will be really easier rather than 12 p.m. And I know that others here who are also observing Ramadan, and not to speak for them, but I think it would be easier for us to get food closer to the time rather than getting it hours beforehand. That's just my opinion. And with that being said, I have to head out. Thank you all for such an amazing year. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed.
Thanks, Mohammed.
So great, then I guess everyone who wants their food to be delivered to them at or pick it up at 7 p.m. Can you please email on or myself.
So I would so just to make it easier for the business associate, she would prefer everyone's food to be the same time, so she wouldn't have to spend the whole day ordering food, because she does have administrative duties on top of all the work she does for USG. And so it would either be everyone that picks up their food that is not coming to UIC would either pick it up at 12 or they would pick it up at 7. We wouldn't have two separate time slots, just to make it easier. And I think 7 p.m. might just be more inclusive to the members observing Ramadan. And so if there's no objections, I'm going to proceed and let our business associate know that to order the food for the pickup to be made by 7 p.m. And I'll send out an email to everyone that filled out the form and wants to pick up their food from the suburbs that the time has changed and that it will be at 7 p.m. And I'll be letting her know today. And so or by tomorrow. And so if there's an objection with 7 p.m. or if it doesn't work for you, please let me know as soon as possible so I can come to a different solution or something.
Okay. Any other thoughts? I don't know if you guys answered this already, but where will the location exactly be? I know it'll be on campus. Where exactly? Is it going to be outside or inside?
Yeah, we were thinking of Inner Circle.
Okay. I think depending on the weather, it might be a good idea to have it outside too. If the weather is nice, UIC has a lot of green spaces outside. I think that would be really fun.
Yeah, I'm open to any location. So if everyone wants to go outside, I'm open with that too.
Any other thoughts?
Yansha, can you remind me again when's the day? Like the 26th, correct?
Yeah, the 26th at 6 p.m. for everyone coming to UIC.
Basically at the time of when our meeting would be, but we don't have a meeting, so it's still Monday from 6 to 8. And there will be an option to be there virtually as well, correct?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay. All right. Any other comments before we move on? Okay. Are there any other items for discussion? I kind of had one thing that I wanted to briefly talk about. So I know that we kind of talked about vaccines and how we can't really ask students to have the vaccine in order for them to be allowed to do in-person classes. But lately, I have seen a lot of other big universities, like Ivy League universities, who have made it mandatory to have the vaccine in order to be there in person. So I was thinking maybe we could potentially look more into that. I know when I was in high school, I was required to have certain vaccinations in order to be there. So I think it potentially might be something we could look into for UIC. But then
Yeah,
again,
we asked Chancellor Emeritus about this, and we also got a chance to ask Vice Chancellor Coronado when he came. And essentially, the answer is that, like, yeah, like that is something that's important and is something to think about. And there have been certain universities like Cornell, Duke, and private and public, like Rutgers, that have tried to do something like this and have at times pulled it off. The issue, what they have, at least what they've told us, is that as long as this is under emergency use authorization, and as long as the Illinois Department of Public Health doesn't require this, it's technically not legal for them to mandate this at our university. But definitely something to keep thinking about for next year and for the future.
yep, thank you for the explanation. Does anybody have any other thoughts? Yeah, this if we can do it this semester, obviously, this is the last meeting. But maybe that could be something for the next administration to think about. Does anybody have any other items for discussion? Okay, if there are no other items for discussion, then we can move on to the next order of business, which is ex officio reports. May we please hear the report of the advisor?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Seeing as this is the last USG meeting of the semester, I just want to say it's been a pleasure working with each of you all. You've done some amazing work this semester, and I look forward to all the amazing work you will do in the future. And congrats to those who are graduating. We will miss you dearly.
Thank you. Uh, Next, oh, sorry. Are there any questions? No questions. Okay. Next we have the report of the student trustee.
Hi, it's me again. Just a few things to report on. The first is congratulations to the new administration, the new president, vice president. You guys, I won't be here next year, but I'm still excited to see what you guys do. I think this year's administration, led by Watson and Hannah, did an amazing job. All the chairs did incredible. The secretary, the chief of staff, the speaker, my successor. I know you guys don't know me, but I was at USG for 4 years, so it's close to my heart. And I will definitely be joining you next Monday, even though you don't know me. You'll see me in person. Get your vaccine if you want to. But other than that, my term, unlike the president and vice president, ends on June 30th. So I will still be working these next 2 months, a little bit more aggressively because classes will be over. But a project that I'm working on right now with Roosevelt Network, which is a policy organization here at UIC, and Student Advocacy Coalition, which is also a student group at UIC, though they focus more on funding and are under the governmental relations office here, is hosting a workshop for advocacy at the beginning of next semester. So I'll be contacting the new president and vice president about that because details are still like TBD. As of now, I've emailed a few programs and centers about this proposal. And the basis of this is like during my time at USG, I didn't know what advocacy meant. I didn't know what lobbying meant. I didn't know what coalition meant. I didn't know a lot of things. And that really kept me from really using the resources available to us as students. Like you have access to administrators, you have like $100K budget, like an office space that you guys didn't get to use, but I definitely appreciate it. So I really hope that this workshop allows students, especially first and second year students, to understand what advocacy is, not just when it comes to lobbying legislators, but also like self-advocacy in the workplace, having the confidence to like advocate for yourself, to mobilize people as well. I think mobilizing communities is something that we've seen a lot this past year and have seen how powerful it is. So really, I'm working with, again, Roosevelt Network and Student Advocacy Coalition on hosting an advocacy workshop, and they're definitely experienced in policy. For any of you guys that are interested in policy in general, UPPF applications are opening, so the Urban Public Policy Fellowship Program. And quick plug, I was in it this year, but they pair you with an internship site and you also develop a research project throughout the year. So if you're interested, I sent that to Daisy accidentally. I'll send it to everyone now. I'll send the link, but that's one project. Another project is the budget. So I worked a lot this year on understanding the process of funding and the budget process here at UIC. And through conversations, I realized like it was, we were very limited in terms of state budget funding or state funding. And it's slowly been decreasing throughout the years, like how much the state allocates for public universities. And furthermore, that has directly impacted our tuition increasing because universities don't have state funding, they have to look for another source, which is tuition. And with that, talking to Janet Parker from the budget office, we thought about, okay, two solutions are getting more state funding or having more donations. And the thing that differentiates UIC a lot from Urbana is the fact, Urbana has pretty wealthy alumni. And just in my experience here, I think that what really keeps our students from fully able to reach that upper class status is the fact that we don't really have as much ability to take on these internships, fellowships, study abroad opportunities that make us competitive candidates. So by increasing funding for our universities, we'll be able to reduce the financial load on students. And with that freedom, they'll be able to take on more of these opportunities that are at UIC that makes them competitive candidates, that makes them successful in whatever sector they choose to go to. All that is to say that I'm currently working with a small group of students on really trying to articulate like what kind of plan we'd like to pursue, as if I'll be here after the summer, but what plan they'll be pursuing to increase state funding. And the Student Advocacy Coalition is currently doing awesome work on that. And also what can be done to lobby legislators directly, not just during the U of I, Springfield, or Day at Capitol, but like throughout the year. But that's still in its early stages where students are just talking right now. But I'm in your group chat, your group me. So once where things are finalized, I'll definitely be asking if anyone's interested in what's it called, in joining that like budget process restructuring. With the budget process too, like it's very limited to like department heads approving the budget. There's not really much engagement from graduate students or department like staff members. So that's another thing that's up in the air. I know I said a lot, but if you guys have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Does anybody have any questions?
Oh, awesome. And I think Watson's going to talk about it in his report, but students are going to be able to meet the 4 provost finalists in the next few weeks. Right now, they've only had confirmed times for 3 of them. The 4th is still TBD. It's virtual through Zoom. So they'll still definitely give you guys an opportunity to meet them. I don't know if I can like share any information with you guys because it's a lot of confidential things, but I'll follow up with the Deputy Chief of Staff to ask like what can be provided to you guys to prepare before the meeting.
Thank you. Okay. Well, with that, we can move on to the next order of business, which is officer report. So unfortunately, due to time, we would have to limit it to 1 minute again. I'm so sorry, everybody. So can we please hear from the president?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Daisy. And thank you so much for your words, Jocelyn. I am not as well spoken or able to do things in 1 minute like that. But I want to say thank you so much to everyone for an absolutely amazing year. I've got a standard report here, but I'm actually going to switch to share what I've gotten from Matthew, which is our final report, our USG report. And we've gotten almost all of this put together, but it is absolutely amazing. I mean, we talk about challenging university administration and challenging the university as a whole to be better and to serve students at all levels, right? Whether that's the way that we do grading here, whether that's the gen eds that we have offered to students, whether those are diversity initiatives or the way that the university addresses mental health concerns, the way that the university polices its students or should not. Issues of housing, issues of campus care, so on and so forth, Title IX COVID-19, international students, and immigration. It's all here. It's all in this report. And I hope to be able to share that with all of you. And hopefully you all can share that with everybody that you know as well. Thank you so much again for an amazing year.
Thank you. We've done a lot this year. I'm really, really proud of us. But if anybody has any questions, unfortunately, we don't have the time to ask questions. But if you have any questions, please reach out to the person directly. Next, we will hear the report of the Vice President.
Okay, so a couple quick updates. One, the mental hygiene initiative, you guys heard all about that. That is going to happen. And I met with both the campus architect and Vice Chancellor Tolliver today. So they've kind of assured us that that is going to follow through to completion. And then in terms of mental health coalition stuff, Vice Chancellor Tolliver also said that the reading days proposal was going to be passed, but likely we won't see that right now. There was also an adjustment. So he said that it should be like instructional days would still be okay, but you just wouldn't be able to have exams or like assignments and stuff like that. So that was the one adjustment to that. Other than that, like feel free to talk to Michelle, Dahlia, or Clinton about mental health stuff going forward. And lastly, just thank you all for being an extremely amazing group of students to work with this year. I wish we could have seen each other in person, but maybe one day.
Thank you, Hannah. Okay, next we have the report of the treasurer.
Yeah, so a pretty short report. A lot of things that I mentioned in items for discussion, but I met with Karen Martin, and we've changed the date from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. for everyone that's not coming to UIC. A lot of the RFFs and past resolutions are still being processed, and so everyone should be in contact with Karen to get updates on how their resolutions are being processed. So for all the new e-board members, please enroll in direct deposit through UIC if you haven't already. Mohammed has sent an email out to all the e-board regarding stipends, and so please fill that out by Friday so we can get that processed as quickly as possible. And then the last day for any purchase on May 15th and April 26th will be the last day to accept RFFs. I just want to thank everyone for being attentive this year and really being a great group of students. I'm really excited to work with all of the new members and continuing members next year, and I hope to do great work with you all. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Next, we have my report. So first of all, the RFF on the plaque has been sent, and we are hoping that that will get through really quickly. Kayla and I have decided that we will continue our work throughout the summer, just because I feel like I'm finishing up the semester and I'm struggling with my classes and everything. So I really want to give her the best possible transition, 100% of my attention. So that's why we have decided to work together over the summer. If anyone needs any help with anything USG related, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions at any time. I'm always here for you guys. So please, please, please reach out. I look forward to seeing some of you at the end of the year party in person. I'll be there. I hope you guys will be there too. It'll be fun. Let's do it. And lastly, it has been an absolute pleasure working with you all. I wish you all a great end of the semester and a lovely summer break. And I hope that our paths cross again. That's all from me. And next, let us hear from our Chief of Staff.
Thank you, Daisy. So my last quote is, "Great is the art of beginning, but greater is the art of ending." So meeting with the chancellor, so it seems like he's very willing to work with us on textbook affordability. And then on Friday, I believe, Senator Murphy just gave me a random call. She expects no issues with the bill passing through the governor's office, and she informed me to contact my local state senator or representative to nominate me on the task force. So that's what I did. But additionally, I've also informed Illinois Library Association about this, and they told me that they can also nominate a person to be on the task force as well. Well, and actually, I received an email back from my senator, and she said that we have to wait until the bill actually becomes law. So yeah, and then I'm working on the final report that was showed to you all. The end of the year party is this Monday. I hope to see you guys all there in person. And yeah, no, thank you guys for a great first year and a great semester.
Thank you. Okay, next we have the report of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee Chair. Is anybody reading Bayan's report tonight? No? Okay. All right, so in that case, we can move on to the report of the Legislative Affairs Committee Chair.
Hello. Hope you guys had a good beginning of your second to last week, and I hope everybody's ready for finals because I'm not. But yeah, I'm working on setting up a final meeting with the Office of Access and Equity. Last week kind of took me by storm, so I wasn't able to get that done. But that is hopefully the plan for these last couple of weeks, and hopefully we can still get all of our changes passed before next year. Yeah, we Taylor Helms, who is the president of SAC, is going to be coming to our meeting on Friday to talk about lobby week. It's going to be, I think, from the 27th to the 31st. So if you do want to be part of that, please let me know so I can add you onto that invitation. Quick updates. I think that was it because I can't remember any right now because I got 12 seconds left. Committee meetings are on Fridays, and Misty got a space for her event, so please look out for the event that Misty is having. Thank you.
Thank you, Dahlia. Okay, next we have the report of the Public Relations Committee Chair.
Hello, good evening. So I just want to say thank you so much for being such an amazing body and being an amazing executive board throughout the whole entire year. This was an incredibly difficult year, so I'm really extremely proud of us. Yes. All right, as for my initiatives, I'm still working on the ones that I previously said before, and my very end goal is finishing them all before school finishes, and I'm hustling to do all of that. So that's all for me, and I think you guys are being amazing, and yeah, I'm good.
Thank you. Next, we have the report of the Student Affairs Committee Chair, and Tega is not here, and Arthur, I believe that you said you were reading her report.
Yes, I'll read it right now, very short, but she couldn't make it sadly. But so vaccine posters are all hanged up, they're all on campus. So maybe when you guys come back, go look for them. And stickers, they've been ordered. We don't know when they're coming. And I do know in the near future I will be passing out vaccine pamphlets. And then yes, then first year seminar expansion. She presented it with Wasan to the FYS planning committee on the 29th. Then we had our last meeting last Friday, and she had some of the highlights, which I could, if you're curious, really curious, I could email them to you. And then, of course, she wishes the best of luck during finals and congratulations to the class of 2021.
Thank you. Okay. Next, we have the report of the Campus Life Committee Chair.
Hi, everyone. So last week we had our last committee meeting in which we set things up for next year and reflected on the work we did this year. And so we have a lot of new initiatives and old ones that we want to continue working on, and I'm excited to do that next year. For Mental Health Coalition, I'm working on a triage survey sample to hopefully show to administration. And I just wanted to thank everyone for all their great work this year. Both e-board and representatives I'm very proud of all of you. Okay, and that's it for my report. I yield for questions.
Thank you, Michelle. If anyone has any questions, you can reach out to Michelle directly. And I believe that was our last report. The next order of business is announcements. Does anybody have any announcements?
Yeah, I guess I have one last announcement. I didn't communicate well in my report, but this administration has been amazing. I've worked with a lot of student governments from other schools, and they're just not even half as good as us. So I'm very proud of how great our work as a student government was throughout this year. So yeah, I hope you guys the best the rest of the semester and on your final exams.
Matthew. So one announcement is that the e-board meeting will be after the general body meeting. So everybody from the e-board, please stick around. Um, does anybody have any other announcements?
I
I hope
just
to see
quickly
you
say
all at the
something?
party. Yeah,
Can I
sorry,
quick?
go ahead, Jocelyn.
Yeah, I forgot to say, like, you guys are amazing, like representatives. I'm sorry, I was fawning over the administration, but you guys are incredible. Like the few meetings I've been at, like the work you guys are doing, like it took me, I think, 2 years to write a resolution when I was in USG. So the work that you guys are doing just shows like how incredible you guys are. And I'm so excited to see the work that you guys do next year. Um, these roles of e-board, like they're temporary. The experience that you're getting as, you know, as representatives, as student leaders, it's forever. It's so cheesy. Also, if any of you are interested in being student trustee, that's definitely something you should work on a year before, which I learned. So if you're interested in running for the next election or in future elections, I'll put my email again. Definitely send me an email. The role is a bit different from representative just because, well, it's similar still, but it's just because it's a little bit more tedious in terms of what can happen. But if you're interested in running for student trustee, I would definitely love to sit down with you to explain it and answer any questions you may have. But yeah, you guys are amazing. And I'm so sorry I wasn't able to be here more, but I hope I can get at least a little, you know, in-person moment on Monday.
Thank you, Jocelyn. If anybody doesn't, write down Jocelyn's email right now, you can reach out to me. I have Jocelyn's information and I can connect you to her. Are there any other announcements?
I have a quick reminder. I just wanted to let you know that on Wednesday, I'm also going to be sending an email with further instructions of how the time capsule is going to work. But just wanted to have a heads up. Just please know that that's coming. To start getting everything ready. You can put absolutely everything in your envelope. Well, not everything, just everything that fits on an envelope. So start gathering pictures if you want to have letters for yourself, for your parents, friends, anything like that. Please start gathering that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements?
I look forward to seeing everyone next year. And you've done a great job this year. Have a good one.
Anything else? Okay, if there are no more announcements, then we can move on to the next order of business, which is adjournment. So all those in favor of adjourning this meeting, please say aye.
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 All that oppose, please say nay. Does anybody abstain? Okay, the ayes have it, and this meeting is now adjourned at 8 p.m.